we got to be honest about how much of these battles today, you feel me? We're not talking about 10 or 20 years ago, but today, how much of this is for the hearts and minds of casual white folks or even just casual black folks that say, I just believe in them. Heads that don't know, but think that they know because, you feel me, they listen to GKMC enough times that they can quote the whole album off the top of the dome. We got to be honest about how much of the discourse that they dominate. There was a couple people who got mentioned that I didn't even think of until after the fact, and I said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Then there was some other people where I was like, okay, I hear the argument, but I see the vision, but I don't agree with the argument, right? Or at the very least, I have a counter to why I don't think that would be a good matchup. And then there was some other folk that I was like, all right, y'all just saying stuff now. The most frequently mentioned one that I did say, okay, yeah, I could see that argument was Denzel Curry. Because Denzel is Denzel is very much on that consciousness adjacency wave. Um, he's also pretty lyrical. He's also pretty lyrical. I don't want to because that would be a pretty backhanded compliment, right? Is he's lyrical for a southern rapper, but he's pretty. And I've said this multiple times in the past. All right, so using for example the cipher that everybody talks about with Kendrick, right? Is that we forget about everybody else that was in that cipher. Big Crit was in that cipher. You know what I mean? We forget about everybody else who was in that cipher because of what Kendrick did there. You know what I mean? But it was the opposite with that 2017 one, right? Is that coming out of that, the only people who even displayed any sort of competence was Denzel Curry, Dave East, and Anderson .Paak in terms of competence. You know what I mean? Now, Anderson .Paak has never been, for one reason or another, Anderson .Paak has never really been, you know, uh seen as a rapper TM because he likes making uh you know old people music with with Bruno Mars on his downtime. But it really goes to show uh where hip hop was at that period. You feel me? That's what it became. But anyway, I say that to make the point that yeah, I could see a case for Denzel Curry. If we doing the I agree. Zell and Joey going back and forth would make more sense. It will make more sense for Zell and Joey to go at it than for Zell and Kendrick. And here's the reason why: is because if we're going to do the too small argument for Joey, you feel me? That applies doubly so to Denzel. You feel me? Again, at the end of the day, regardless of what you want to say about Joey, regardless of what you want to say about he don't got no plaques, he don't got bada or whatever, I already gave y'all the numbers. You feel me? Joey's numbers are bigger than a lot of folks' faves. You know what I mean? And then the fact that Joey is from New York. That's always going to be as much as we try to dismiss New York, right? It's the number one media market in the country, dog. Like you can't you can't dismiss New York. You just can't. You can't. Anytime if you know any New York Negroes, you know that they all move, and even just North Jersey Negroes, you feel me? They move like celebrities. You feel me? They feel like when they walk into a room that all eyes, all attention must be must be on them. You know what I mean? But in the back of their mind, they understand, and that's why, you feel me? Just by, again, I keep coming back to this, is that we are underestimating, you feel me? Um, we're underestimating how big a deal it is that for the first time in the very at the very least, um at the very least 10 years, that the whole King of New York thing actually matters. You know what I mean? Joey did that. You feel me? I'd make the argument that the King of New York thing hasn't mattered for closer to 20. You feel me? I'll make the argument that the last true King of New York was 50 Cent. I'll make that argument. You feel me? So part of the interview with Open Mike that y'all didn't see is he tells this story about a guy. I don't remember if he was at a bar. I don't remember if the dude recognized him, a white dude, you know, a middle-aged white dude. I don't remember if the dude recognized him from his music, or if it was just offhand conversation or whatever the case may be, and they got into the whole Kendrick Drake thing, right? This was after the beef, and the dude says to Mike, he says, basically making the point that it don't matter, who Kendrick winds up getting smoked from, right? He just believes in him. That was that was his argument. I don't know. I can't explain it. I just believe in him. You dig what I'm saying? And we got to be real about the fact that the folk who dominate the discourse, that is who they are, which gets me into the Billy Woods thing, because that was another name that I saw brought up a couple of times, is Billy Woods. And I think that, you know, shout out to Dom and them over at Potty Mouth, but I think that he made a really good and a really cogent point about this, is that Billy Woods' music, to me, is not accessible enough, right? Exactly. Billy Woods is super abstract. I'm not even going to hold you like, you know, I'm super duper familiar with dude, but what I have heard, I enjoy it. But it's so abstract to the point that it is. I agree, it is weird. It is what why people, why I think people mention Billy Woods. They mention Billy Woods because I said No Name. You know what I mean? They said Billy Woods because I said No Name, and because they both have that, you know, very, very radically black, I read the books type of politic to them. They said, "Oh, you know who I got for you? Billy Woods is right on is on that same wave." But the problem is that No Name. If I said that No Name's problem is that she makes elevator music. If No Name makes elevator music, you know what Billy Woods is like? Billy Woods is like the 9 Inch Nails of hip hop. Those of y'all who listen to 9 Inch Nails know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Sonically speaking, that's who Billy Woods is. And that's not, again, going back to something that open Mike Eagle said, right? Uh uh we got to be honest about how much of these battles today, you feel me? We're not talking about 10 or 20 years ago, but today, how much of this is for the hearts and minds of casual white folks or even just casual black folks that say, I just believe in them? Heads that don't know, but think that they know because, you feel me, they listen to GKMC enough times that they can quote the whole album off the top of the dome. We got to be honest about how much of the discourse that they dominate. I feel like Billy Woods could make some really good and some really cogent points. You feel me? Undressing Kendrick's politics, but who's going to listen to it? That's the problem. Is who's going to listen to it, and then Kendrick can counter with that very argument. That dog, who's going to listen to you? Who is going to listen to this industrial, uh, this abstract Salvador Dali hip hop? Who ain't don't nobody want to listen to that? Don't nobody got time for that. You feel what I'm saying? That's going to be the counter that Kendrick uses. Is that who is Billy Woods? You know what I mean? So that's what that would be, and that's why. So I say I see where y'all are coming from with that, but I disagree that it will be effective because it's not not accessible enough for the casual head. You feel me?